What's good, Relocation Football League fans? It's your boy Smitty, joined here along with Rob Roby, aka Mix, and we are back with the RFL podcast. And boy, the playoffs just continues to get more wild and more wild. This season continues to get more better and more better. We're going to have a lot to talk about out of these 4 games that just went down this past divisional round, and we are about to jump into conference championship week to determine who is going to the season 9 Relo Bowl. Rob, what is your thoughts on everything just about that has transpired up to this point before we get in these games, on just your feelings in general about this season? I know I've asked that multiple podcasts, but it just seems like there's just so much more to talk about every time.
Yeah. Well, it always sucks for the couch potatoes, but I've been a couch potato for multiple seasons now, so it is what it is. All right, so I'm used to it, man. Shout out to the new guys who have joined the couch potatoes, or got Ubered in, man. Salute to all you guys, man. So it's obviously it sucks, to be watching, witnessing it go down and not be a part of it, right? So salute to all the teams who actually made it, the teams who are still in it and everything. And, shout out to the guys who are just waiting on, got to wait a whole college series season and then another off season and such and so forth, right? Of course, I've been keeping myself busy, man, and strategizing and stuff like that, game planning and scouting, building rookies and everything on the offline file. So that's kind of helped me. Other than that, it's been an excellent, excellent to watch the storylines develop. The playoffs have not fallen short of greatness at all, and I think that we're on to something great here. I just don't know, is it going to be a rookie or is it going to be a veteran, a long-time veteran that should get it right?
Yeah.
Or will it be a young guy, right? So we got the young guys in the ARC. And we got the old heads over in the NRC, right? So, we're going to find out. We're going to find out, man.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely incredible season. I'm looking for score recaps here. Let's see if I put this down. I think this is it right here. So, yep, we're going to dive right into the game. So, the first game, it's not showing up. Is the background over it? Yeah, okay, that's what it is. Background is over. All right, here we go. We're going to dive into the first game of the divisional round, and it was starting off with the NRC matchup between the 7th seed Boston Shamrocks and the number 1 seed playing their first game, Portland Snowhawks. It was in Portland, of course, with them being the number 1 seed, and I would say this, the score looks really good. There was definitely some concerns on offense, which you don't want to see. But the defense of the Snowhawks showed just how stout they could be, as they were able to have the biggest victory out of any team this week, a 22-point win over the Shamrocks, 25-3. Dive into this game and your thoughts on everything on it, and whatever you don't touch on or whatever I want to harp on, I'll jump in.
Yeah, this game didn't go the. Oh, I do. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So this game didn't go as I anticipated it. I first thought it would be a much bigger score for the Shamrocks, obviously. Obviously the running game of Saeed Gore was, kept at a minimal there. So salute to Portland there. But this game didn't really play out how I thought it would play out. It was kind of an ugly game. Is this... I started off wanting to say that this is the most convincing win this week, but I just don't know if I believe that the Shamrocks are that bad. And it was watching the obviously calling this game here. It just kind of it didn't feel like it didn't meet that expectation that we're used to seeing here in the RFL. If I have to be honest, man, this is probably one of the worst ones I've seen in my entire time here, because you're expecting Tom Wilson and to come out and perform, and he just doesn't do that, right? And I just think that under 200 yards in a playoff game, right?
I'll
I
ask
don't
this
know, man.
question
So,
since you're
yeah,
on it more,
yeah,
just
yeah,
for you to talk on. Do you feel
yeah,
it's
yeah,
more of just the Snowhawks defense showing how good they
yeah,
really
yeah,
are?
yeah.
Because, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not easy to do this. Roland Woods still ended up having himself a good
Yeah,
day. Had a majority of all the yards that Wilson threw.
yeah, yeah,
Was it
yeah,
just the defense just being that
yeah,
great and making the right plays?
yeah. I'm a defensive guy, and I do respect the Snowhawks defense. Um, I still feel though, and this is nothing to the Snowhawks, but I still feel that um, Tom Wilson underperformed. I think Tom Wilson has played defenses just as good as the Snowhawks, and he's done well. And he just did not. He dropped the ball here in this game, right? I don't want to say fluke to Portland, right? Uh, they played well. They deserved the win because they played well, right, on both sides. But it just something was off, man. Something was really really off here. Um, but the Snowhawks can convince me, right? They win this next game, they get a reload ball, and maybe I'll change my mind, right? About them, being that perennial defensive team, right? Um, I love what they've done, man. They're that defensive line, the linebackers, and despite the injuries that they have, right? Uh, Man, they've really, really gotten after the football, So I have to tip my hat to them. But it was just to me, just looked like a bad day for Tom Wilson, man. It's really unfortunate. And actually, even the catches by Roland Woods, that looks like about an average day for him. But it's like I felt like they weren't really, targeting him as much. And I don't want to, I could, you can't see half the field, man. So you don't know if he's getting strapped, is he getting double teamed or what? Is he wide open and Tom just doesn't have time? You can't really tell, right? But even that 6 receptions, 104 yards, it really felt like Roland Woods is not even a part of this offense, right? So, um, yeah,
Yeah, my
Portland gets it done.
takeaways from this game, man,
Yeah,
is going back to it. I don't think personally for me, both sides of the ball performed too well at all for Portland. And that is going to be the biggest question mark for the Snowhawks because, to be honest, the issues with the Snowhawks in the past as to why they've never achieved that greatness has been their offense having moments like this, right? I
yeah,
was
yeah,
honestly concerned for the Shamrocks not coming into this game because I'm going to be honest, I expected the Snowhawks to win in this fashion. Last time these guys played, I can't remember the exact week, but it was earlier within the season. I think it was like week 7. And
hmm
the Shamrocks beat the Snowhawks 41-16. But if anybody remembers that game, it wasn't a game where the starters were just getting punched on and it was over.
hmm
Joseph Gilly got injured in that game, and they had Romanelli have to come in and finish it, and it just didn't turn out good. So
yeah,
I think the missing with Joseph Gilly missing it was a huge factor as to why they lost that previous game, and then also the offense then had its struggles and was inconsistent. It was more so towards the middle part of the season where they really found their identity, ran with it, and have been really doing a great job of beating teams, right? And the defense actually played, in my opinion, their best game. I haven't seen them play this well against the team all season, especially of the caliber in which the Shamrocks are. I know some people will say the Shamrocks are a good caliber. Well, after what we saw them do the week before, I mean, that was very impressive. We already know how the
hmm
Desperados are. We know their history of losing in the first round and everything. But they still did an excellent job on offense and defense to come out on top of that game. In a game where they nearly lost, and literally Tom Wilson had to be that guy to get them back with a throw that was underthrown purposely for a big time catch to be made and played through the air. And that's what set them up to get that overtime. And he was able to drive them down the field, score a touchdown, and then we know that the defense came up with the interception to seal it.
yeah,
So Wilson, like you said, I will agree, definitely a lackluster game. I feel like he could have played better. And
yeah,
also with that though, the defense was also on its game for the Snowhawks. And so I have my concerns. I'll talk more about that, when we talk about the Snowhawks and who they'll be facing in the NRC Championship. But at the end of the day, the Snowhawks did do, in my opinion, what I expected them to do. This is a 7th seed team. Even though you lost to them before, you're at full strength. This is what you should have happen. And if that offense had been clicking, then I think it would have been much worse for the Shamrocks. But like you say, I do think it's a combination of both. The Snowhawks defense played its best football, and the
yeah,
Shamrocks offense just didn't. And it just resulted in this big loss. And we'll go ahead and move on to the second game, which was ARC matchup. Ronnie football and the Hogs upset the Red Dragons, man. And first bell I'm going to give out to. I'm not going to give a bell out to Davis, man. Oh, matter of fact, I will, though, because I told you if you didn't win a reload bowl, that I was going to bell you because you sat your guys. But I'm going to be honest, I'm going to still just throw him a bell just for the jokes of it, because honestly, I don't think that affected this team, right? As much as we thought. So Davis still did a great job, but who would have expected Ronnie Shanahan and the Hogs to do what they did? My second bell, though, is definitely going to go to Ronnie, bro. Can't be out here throwing the talent on the team off the first rip. You should have known on the podcast I was going to fire you up for this one, man. But I saw that in the chat while I was, live in the game. I'm like, man, Shanahan, we do have a rule against that. Please do not blame the game, say the Madden sim guys and all this stuff was doing this. Don't do that, man, because that damages the margin for others.
No,
but
I tried to clean him up a little bit in the Discord, man. But the guys, he was about to get it, man. You can't do that, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that, But he'll be all right, man. But yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh boy.
It was crazy.
I saw. Yeah, go ahead.
It was crazy to me because I don't know why. And when I saw that, I just had the feeling that I was like, I don't know what it is, but I just have the feeling that the Hogs are still going to win this. And he just said this. So I was just like, of course I don't know that at the time, but I'm just like, how this game gets. You know how this game gets, especially when you know a good quality of a team. This Hogs defense has kept this team, has made this team go as far as they have gone. Like this, as much as we talk about Ronnie Shanahan, and I like what he's done the last 3 weeks, before then, he did not really contribute to any of the success that the Hogs were having until like maybe the early on. I'll say the early 6-game win streak, he was able to pull out those little plays that did make a difference, that, flipped it in their favor, like the little scrambles to get that first down they needed and stuff like that. But it was a long stretch where he wasn't contributing at all. And the defense was keeping them in games. But the thing about it, this defense has kept them in every single game, because if you look at the games in general, Ronnie Shanahan, rightfully so, as a rookie, was making his mistakes. And the other bell I will give out to is to Coach Dunn, man. I'll give you the bell. Because you talked about Ronnie Shanahan. Man, you playing him? You should have played somebody else. Look, I knew what was going to happen when Ronnie Shanahan got into the fold. Dude wasn't going to be perfect. He's an undersized quarterback. There's great defenses in the league. But once I seen them still find success, this defense was strong. And he was not like, he did throw some games away later on, but like it just wasn't that consistent. I was like, man, let this dude get it. He didn't reach the goal of winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year, which sucked. But look at how far he's gotten. And the guy legit's got a chance to go to the Relo Bowl in his first year. Like, who would have expected Ronnie Shanahan and the Hogs to be playing in the ARC championship game, man? But final score was 31-29. What's your takeaways from this?
As you say that, I hear the rumbling, and it's true. It seems like we have a knack for young rookie QBs, playing as lights out for some reason, right? You know what I mean? While our veterans are all struggling, so that kind of goes along with the RFL storyline, right? The young rookie. Although we don't want to compare it. Obviously, we don't want to compare it to the Savoy season, right? Because the numbers are totally different, right? But one thing I do like about Ronnie, man, is it seems like he's very good at consistent drives down the field in clutch situations, and sometimes that's all you need, man. You need that guy who can just get the ball out, man. I remember when we were playing he's playing the Cougars, man, and do that kind of lopsided pass or whatever to whoever it was. Yeah. It's just the uncanny ability, man, to be able to get out of a situation at the right moment. And he does have that it factor. But obviously with the supporting cast on defense and everything and his veterans around him, I'm kind of laughing in my head right now as I'm looking at Peyton Cash over his shoulder. It looks like a meme should be the meme should be, hey, not calling the Uber on us yet. You know what I'm saying? just kind of hanging around a little bit, man. As far as this game goes, this is a beautiful game to watch. I'm very glad that it was as close as it was. I'm trying to remember my takeaways. I actually thought in the beginning of this, I thought that this game was about to be over for the Hogs.
Yeah.
When I saw the interception to Le'Veon,
yeah,
I said, "All righty,
it was looking bad.
Roddy, you cannot do this. Yeah, this is a
and remember
look.
the
This is one.
the
Yeah, the penalties. Yeah,
offensive holding penalties was killing. They had a 4th and 48 at one point, bro.
Yeah. Remember that? Yeah, you were like, yeah, I remember because I remember it was like 4th and 34. You're like, I think this is the longest it's ever been. Then it was 4th and 48. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But I thought this game was about to be over for them, bro. And it's funny because like I mentioned this multiple times this season is that the Red Dragons I think they're the oldest defense in the league, or if they're not the oldest defense in the league, they're the most original. They're still the original team since season, is it 2 or 3, whatever it is.
I have
to look back.
You got Avante Celis. I mean, they don't have Charles Raymond no more. Le'Veon Henry, he did come in season 2. So I guess those early first 3 years, they got a lot of players still from then.
Yeah. So I kind of bake, the success on the Red Dragons to this defense, right? That's played together for so long. And has been put the boot to neck for most teams, and I thought it was going to be over for Ronnie, man, through that interception and obviously the sacks and everything, but they're able to to bounce back from this thing here, and it was limited. Ronnie only 17 completions here. He had an INT. The running game, only 41 yards on the ground. Shropshire, man, I love Shropshire, man. He's definitely been a bailout boy for them. Yeah, he's just come alive, man. It's kind of cool to see the veteran come up and have a good presence here and still balling. When most veterans, they fall off, but Shropshire has been absolutely amazing here. It's something about him in the playoffs too, man. I think we've seen him late season, playoffs just kind of rev up, man. So, but again, it was kind of a sloppy game on both sides, other than Savoy. Savoy playing, man, look at that. Was it 41-57 there? Almost 400 yards passing. The 3 INTs is crazy though. In Savoy's fashion, I've seen him do that before. Throw, lots of interceptions, and somehow the game is still close, right? Very, very good. Very good game all around. But the Hogs, man, they scraped by on this one. But I'm gonna tell you right now, man, and we're gonna get into it later. They cannot scrape by in this next game.
Yeah,
and I'm waiting.
And I still got a lot more points to even go off on this because it's a lot. Because shout out to the Hogs defense because, bro, they played 2 MVP candidates and made them look trash.
Yeah,
you saw what they did to Devin Wade in the first round. Second round, come out here, Anthony Savoy, which many would be like, man, if he had just played that last week, he would have been the league MVP. And they forced 3 picks on this dude. That's the most interceptions he had in any game the entire season. Yeah. And so, honestly, when we get to that next game, when you got a defense that can do this kind of stuff, that's where it's just like, man, with Ronnie Shanahan, no matter what mistakes he makes, every game you watch, the Hogs have always been in it because of how great their defense is. And not only that, the run game, which shows, I think we need to put, of course, Dre Shivers was a dog. Don't get me wrong. He was breaking tackles that his line sometimes did not pick up for him, right? Which means he was just a dog on top of his line. But I think we need to really credit this Hogs offensive line because this run game picked right back up where he left off the minute he got knocked out for the rest of the season. Jacob Haynes and Vincent Valentine, monsters on the ground. Valentine had 60 yards rushing on like 6 carries in this game. And you see Haynes with 15 carries, 45 yards, may not be the best average, but he was getting those necessary yards. And a few of these, if it wasn't for those holding penalties early on, he would have had much more yards than that. And he found his way in the end zone. So the Hogs, they're just a serious threat due to that fashion. And now you got Ronnie Shanahan catching a rhythm. Like he threw that interception early on, but after that interception, 2 touchdown passes and did what he had to do. And this has been him since week 18. So that's saying a lot that he's getting hot and developing and maturing. and the most crucial point of the season. I mean, the Red Dragons couldn't have came out here any better. I think it was 15-0. Can't remember what the score was at first, but man, we saw Obey Kid. He returned from injury. He was gone for a little while. I think like 4 or 5 weeks. First game, first play. This dude runs a deep crosser, catches the ball, big game. Dude ends up with 120 yards on 10 catches. Like, they were really playing to win this game. And I think the other big factor was, and this was the key to the training that I had for the Hogs to begin with coming in this game, was shut down the run game. Because if you notice in the Red Dragons, as much as Savoy was successful and their pass game was a serious threat and tough to slow down at the midway point and beyond of the season, the run game is what was getting everything going for them. So the focus on taking away DJ Scott is what dictated, I think, this game to go the way it did, because they started to slow down.
You think that's just by design, though? Do you think he did that by design because he felt that, you know, he didn't want to get into a war with the defensive line trying to run the ball with Scott, when he, you know, felt like maybe he could use the success of Savoy to pass and then also maybe scramble a little bit as well?
Well, I think I can't remember what his focus was on, like what he decided to boost for his offense, but I feel like he felt confident in his run game enough that no matter what, Scott was going to be able to get those tough yards and keep the offense going. And he knew his offense, especially with Obey Kid returning, should be able to light a defense up, which he kind of did, right? I mean, that's still 362 passing yards for Anthony Savoy. But what he didn't account for was the sheer pressure, the coverage, and just how good I think this Hogs defense was. And I'm not going to say he didn't account for that too, because I'm pretty sure he knew how tough the Hogs defense was. But I think a lot of people underestimate just how really good they are, because they're good on every level. You're talking safety, linebackers, corners, everything. And they were missing their premier edge rusher and just lost their other premier edge rusher. So 2 edge rushers are gone. But these young guys that are filling in are very strong, powerful, and they could get by those defensive tackles. I think they even make the defense even stronger, because their rating may not be as high, but their abilities of their attributes and what they're able to bring may make it harder for anybody to have good time in the pocket. And so, and that was a huge difference in this game, because we saw the week before, I mean, Savoy had all day to throw the ball. He was lighting it up in that big victory they were able to get against the Aviators. Could have been more, but you saw then where the flaws were, because the Red Dragons should have blew the Aviators smooth out in that game, and they had issues. And what the Hogs did in this game, they made sure to take advantage of every single one of those, even starting from the Strickland pick. When he got that first interception, they just kept coming, and they were not dropping them. And before that Strickland pick, there was a ball thrown straight to the defender where he dropped it, and I think that was Matthew Hall. And after that, they weren't dropping no more picks. And so I think that's what killed the Red Dragons, just a momentum flip, and Ronnie Shanahan clutching up at the right time and staying consistent, not turning over the ball and winning the turnover battle. I mean, coming into this game, I don't think anyone would have thought that the Hogs and Ronnie Shanahan was going to win the turnover battle, but they did. Yeah. And that's what made the difference, in my opinion, in these 2 points. But man, shout out to Ronnie Shanahan and the Hogs, bro. Going to the ARC championship game. We get into the 3rd game, another 2-point game that was determined, and the Condors knock out Coach Forbes and the Diablos. 17-15 was the final score. This was a pure war going on down to the last stretch, and man, the Condors getting it done. We now officially know that the NRC championship game is going to be a round 3 bout between the Snowhawks and the Condors. A huge rivalry there, of the only division to stay intact after realignment. What was your takeaways from the Condors, Chase McCoy and those guys getting it done over Forbes and Lane Kearney and those guys?
Probably the most boring game I've called this entire season, man. Jesus, I just woke up from this game. It was that slow. This is a painful to watch, man. I know I love defenses, you know, don't get me wrong, but I just, in the playoffs, I just like to see I like to see big scores, man. You know, I like to see guys coming out. This was just like watching Pee Wee Bantams, right? You know, Bantams, what do you call it? Bantam leagues, right? Pop Warner, right? and they're just going back and forth and nobody doing any scoring, right? And this was this boy at one point I think I counted like 4 or 5 punts backwards, back to back to back, bro. I went through the whole sheet. I mean, I got logs, man. Like I'm telling you, I got.
Or I had to dive deep in
Bro,
the facility.
I got logs, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like logs here. If you guys can see this and everything, right? And and I went through I went through the sheets and had nothing to say, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was that bad of a game, man. Now I'm done ranting about how bad the game was, because no, I get nervous too, bro. When the game is like slow.
Talk about.
Oh man, it's the playoffs, right? Yeah, man. So that was yeah, nothing's happening, man. What do I remember about this game? I just remember both of these QBs just like not being able to do much at all, bro. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately for the Condors, right? They get 17. They, edge out of this thing. Lane Kearney, man, I feel sorry for Forbes, man. Because he texted me about McAfton, like he thought McAfton was supposed to be starting, right?
Yeah. And
then Kearney comes in and he has a great game, right, in the wild card, and then he tells me immediately after the game, I'm still playing McAfton. Well, then Dunn goes and goes on his thing about Kearney, and then next thing you know, Forbes changes his mind and now he's going to play Kearney for the rest of the time, right? Mm. And I remember being like, man, it was a great mistake. Yeah. Oh, man. And then Kearney goes back to being Kearney, right? And I was just kind of I was saddened for the Diablos, man, because he just he's getting balled up. I don't remember how many sacks it was, but he just kept getting balled 12?
Up. 12 sacks, man.
Yeah, crazy. Not throwing the ball, holding on to the ball, doing everything that Forbes feared, right? Which is why he got benched in the first place. And he did everything at the biggest moment for Coach Forbes. And so now that was a bad mistake. Bad mistake for Forbes, right? But that's the RFL for you, bro. You don't know what you're gonna get, week to week, man. All you can do is, put the game plan in and pray, bro. You never know what you're gonna get, man. Look, Condors. Look, this game is accurate though. If you've been watching the stats, I've been doing a lot of that this season. Look, they only are giving up 17 points a game. They're the number one team defensively with the fewest amount of points per game. So that 15 is accurate to the Condors defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, RIP to the Diablos, man. I don't even know what else to say about this, man. But like defensive wise, it was accurate. As a matter of fact, I think the Diablos also only give up like 19 points a game or something like that.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. Condors 17.
Yeah.
If I go to Diablos, check them out real fast.
I think it was 19 last time I checked.
Yeah, 19. So yeah.
Yeah, 19.
Very accurate.
So this played exactly how it should have played based on the data. Right? You know what I mean? Big salute to the Condors, man. That's all I got to say about that one.
Yeah, not really too much to say about this. Glenn Sharp had a good performance, as he pointed out there. And I just remember I didn't get to watch the game too much from the beginning, because this game, I think I had to go all the way in Orlando. And so, like, by the time I tuned in, it was 17-9. Yeah. It was late. I'm like, oh, man, this must have been, little defensive snooze fest. And, I'm watching the game, and honestly, I started to see the Diablos, it's starting to, come back a little bit, but just couldn't get it done, man. And
big salute to Glenn Sharp, too. I forgot about him. He kind of went off.
Yeah.
He had a major catch, bro.
Yeah.
It was crazy in this one, man. Yeah. It was crazy. So, yeah, he did go off in this game. I had to give him his own emoji
Yeah.
the
And what was it that
touchdown.
they missed out on? Was it the 2 point conversion? I think it was a two
Yeah, it was
point
2 point.
conversion
Yeah,
that cost them
went
this
for
game.
two, bro. Did they try to
I think
run the
they tried to
ball?
dive it straight up the middle and got blasted.
Oh
That's
goodness,
what it
yeah, bro.
was.
It
They
was
tried to run
the
a dive up
worst.
the middle and got
Yeah,
killed
yeah,
when
yeah,
that could have sent the game in overtime. That would have been the second one in the
yeah,
playoffs
yeah,
that the
yeah,
Diablos would have played. But
yeah,
man,
yeah.
one thing that stood out to me though, I kind of figured this would be defensive like that for the Diablos because their defense has been top notch for the most part this season. But also, it
Right,
just tells how far the Condors have come, right, with their defense.
correct.
Because you remember back in the day, these guys used to be so good on offense, and their
Yeah,
defense sucked so bad that it
yeah,
was just like, yo, it's they still
yeah. They
had
could kick a
decent
score fast,
seasons,
fast, fast, and
yeah, but
then
they just
yeah,
had
mm-hmm,
nobody to help them on the other
yeah,
side. And it all
mm-hmm,
started to shift. And we talked about this during that draft back then. That as soon as they got Jacob Reed and started to add more pieces
mm-hmm.
from then, that this team
Yeah,
was going to be scary if their offense can keep up that same,
yeah,
caliber.
mm-hmm,
I do still
mm-hmm.
feel like this offense now is it the same what it used to be in the past. I think it's pretty close,
Yeah,
and then that now they have a really good stout defense with some good vets
yeah,
and some good young guys that's going to be there for the future. Their defensive
yeah,
backs are developing and getting better. They made a huge addition in Jay Hayden this year, the rookie from Miami, who turns out right now to be their best cornerback after year one,
mm-hmm,
and they're still in the
mm-hmm.
playoffs. So they've got so many players developing. I mean, Ray Franklin on that defense. You got Andre Evans. Of course, we talked about Reed, Kevin Kudon, who was up there top 3 in sacks. Like these are notable names that are now on this team. And Chase McCoy, doing his thing, the 1-2 duo punch with Cornell Mickens and the rookie Chris Clark. Like
Mm-hmm.
this team is built and to take them where they've gone. And I think a lot of people kind of slept on, the potential that the Condors had coming into the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people look at them as more of a mid-tier team, which I still feel like they're a slightly above that, but the pieces that they have, I think were just
Yeah,
not getting viewed in the same light of their potential. Like guys didn't think they would stick neck and neck with the Snowhawks, but I honestly been saying since the beginning of the season, I'm like, I don't know why guys just think that the Snowhawks going to win the division, even though they did. I'm like, yo, the Condors made it close. They've been keeping it
yeah,
close, and
yeah,
they were in there before. So now the Condors, to be in this point to knock off the teams that they did, and you have to beat your biggest rival to go to the Relo Bowl, like that's just crazy. But
tough.
the Condors are that team that I think many need to see and say like, yo, this just isn't no weekend team that got lucky. They built up to
Mm-hmm.
do this over the years, and they're in the right position to possibly go to their first Relo Bowl, and who knows, possibly even win it. But yeah, that's the takeaways I had from that game. And of course, we're going to get to the final game to determine who was going to go to the ARC Championship to take on Ronnie Shanahan and the Hogs. And that was Coach Dunn and the Miners versus the Dublin Celtic Tigers and Justin Jones. And man, Justin Jones was going off. He threw that one pick, but I mean, other than that, this kid didn't put up a ton of points, you'd say, on the board, but if you watched that game and saw how he was thrown up against the best pass defense in the league, you wouldn't have thought that they were. Like he was that confident in his receivers and his ability to win this one 20-13. What's your takeaways from this game?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to actually watch this game all the way through. Listened to it in the truck though, for the most part. I was coming from graduation last night.
Mm.
So yeah, but was a great game. I heard you going back and forth, man, and I just kept hearing Nayani Worsley, right?
Oh,
And
geez.
I was like, oh my goodness, man. And it was kind of nostalgic of the Crowell era, right? Um, just for the people who are younger to the league and don't understand, Justin Jones waited 3 or 4 years, however many seasons it was. So he was behind Drake Crowell, so he was able to develop, right? So what you're looking at here is you're looking at a primed QB who was in, behind a veteran, and now he's like in a starting role, and he's playing lights out, like how Crowell, would play. And so I was nostalgic of that to hear, the older, if you just had to go and watch the Crowell games to
Yeah.
understand like why this was nostalgic with me when Smitty like, and Matt Nayani has the most wide receiver awards, and Trey Worsley, and a lot of guys don't know Trey Worsley used to be number one back in the league,
Yeah.
had lots of records
Multiple
and
years.
everything. Multiple
I
years, yeah.
think he literally
So
led the ARC every single year up until season
yeah,
7 or 8. That's how long
yeah,
he's
yeah.
been dominating.
Yeah, yeah. And so, that's just the legacy of this, right? So, I knew that, Dunn had his hands tied. I think he knows he had his hands tied as well with this team here. And what's really scary about CT now is, they've got the money, and, if they start adding on attachments to this team, boy,
Yeah.
this is gonna get ugly, man. The game though, from what I could hear, right, it kind of sounded like it was dominated by CT. Um, it seemed like McCain, just couldn't be the bailout boy for them, given the experience of CT's. Now I didn't see exactly what was going on, but just hearing that, right,
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of made me feel like CT maybe was just a little bit too overpowered on defense, and obviously a caliber team here in the playoffs, right? Was just difficult. I will say that look, man, Matt Nayani, man, bro,
Loaded.
I've seen this guy do a lot of incredible things, right? And I think that they're very lucky that he only had the 5 catches, right? And I think that that's something that the Miners should be hats off to, that they were able to contain him, because I've seen him like just do crazy things in the playoffs, man. So again, I couldn't obviously see the whole thing, right? But just hearing it, and I figured out, that I figured out they lost after the fact, so I went and replayed the last bit of it, and I just I was just shaking my head like I'm doing right now,
Yeah.
man. You know what I mean? But again, great performance from the Celtic Tigers. I think this game was 20-3
Yeah, it was.
at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 20-3, and yeah, man. That's all I got to say about it, man.
Yeah, the Celtic Tigers, I was kind of shocked too. But the way that they play defense, they love the blitz. And wherever their flaws are, they kind of fill it in with that type of defense because they are missing a key defensive playmaker in Michael Freeh, right?
Yeah,
Michael Freeh
he's
is a
out for one
monster,
more
and
week.
he's 1 more week. He's got to wait after this,
Yeah,
which means if they make the Relo Bowl, they're going to have that guy back, which just adds even more. But
yeah,
they had to bring in guys like Jamie DeSalis,
yeah,
Fisher Owens. Like these guys
mhm,
are mid to low 70s, but they
yeah,
just fit right into the scheme of this 3-4 style uh,
yeah,
blitzing defense, right? And just the way they were able to blitz on different angles was really what was
yeah,
getting Miles McCain because
yeah,
and it was throwing off the blocking because there were situations
yeah,
where you saw the running back on one side, he didn't
yeah,
even notice the one dude was coming and he tries to get over there
yeah,
and he's not fast enough. The linebacker's too
yeah,
fast. And so Jamie DeSalis
yeah,
is running straight through, brings him down for a sack. And that heat on top of, again, another key focus was to shut down the run game because the
mhm,
strength of this Miners team was the run game. Steve Washington,
yeah,
the way they rotate their backs, if you take away that run game and you force them to focus McCain to be the center, not saying that
mhm,
he's not a good quarterback. The issue is, remember, they traded away their best guy. They have nothing
yeah,
but young guys there. You have the
yeah,
advantage with your secondary. And so you take away the run and you force McCain to beat you
yeah,
with his arms against a defense that heavily is going to send pressure.
yeah,
And that just worked heavily into the favor of the Celtic Tigers. And the thing that the Miners, I'm sure, were betting on, hoping on, was that their number one pass defense would look like the number one pass defense. But again, this works in kind of the favor of the Celtic Tigers too, because we saw, even though they didn't have the number one pass offense, I mean, if you watched the way that this team played with Justin Jones all year, they were pretty much unstoppable. We talk about Matt Niani, but Matt Niani, even though he was the key centerpiece and he balled out, he had the least amount of touchdowns out of their starting guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how much he contributed with the yards and the big plays. But we can't forget about a guy who wasn't even playing this week, Chandler Back. And I'm gonna give a shout out to his backup that came in, Skeggy Thrash. That's a guy that nobody even said during the stream. I don't think nobody remembers who that guy is. Like
Oklahoma, right?
From Oklahoma, and he was never even at Oklahoma. He was not a guy that had a lot of yards and statistics on his stat sheet, but the guy was uber fast.
He's a playmaker.
Yeah, he was a playmaker.
Yeah,
and so you give that type of weapon to Justin Jones, and he's faster than Chandler Back. You saw that speed kind of take over. There was a play in that game where he ran up the seam on a streak, and it was almost like an immediate strike. He runs right by the linebacker, huge gain up the middle of the field. And Justin Jones, the big thing about him is like this guy's been primed for this moment, been vetted, been behind the vet of Drake Crowell, and he just has picked up exactly where he left off. The minute something gets open, this guy's striking, and he's got the weapons to kill you. Cam Rux, his development too, as a slot receiver, I mean, the guy is phenomenal. There was a crucial third down I remember where, and I took some good pictures of it too in the photos, which they actually had him where he signaled to Cam Rux like this, and he looked at him and was like, he looked like he hot routed the route and said, "Yo, run this out." And dude ran an out route on a crucial third down, struck him right in stride, and went up the field, big first down. And it was just like they couldn't. This defense, as great as they were, could not stop Justin Jones in those crucial moments, and he was just making some amazing throws on top of Trey Worsley being able to tote the rock as well as he did. That balance is what makes the Celtic Tigers very dangerous, and so that was a huge reason as to why they got the win. But of course, you definitely got to give credit to the defense. Logan Starkman ended up being their best receiver there with the 10 catches for 82 yards. But like I said, that's what the Celtic Tigers were banking on. They were banking on these receivers to have to beat their defensive backs, which honestly they didn't do. There was a lot of big time pass breakups in this game. I remember one that was to Douglas Drayton where he was thrown on the sideline, caught it, but then the last second knockout by Austin. You had one, it was in the flats, but it was just like the defensive back came down so fast and punched it out that it was already a second down, which made it third. And I do want to give a crazy shout out to the craziest play that we've seen where Douglas Drayton got an end around play and broke like 40 tackles. It's the crazy glitch.
That was crazy.
Thing
I saw that. I did see that. That was
wild,
crazy,
man. And thankfully the game didn't cheat him though, because at first I was like, "Yo, is the game literally going to give the Miners all these yards when he should have been down?" And they acted as if it was an incomplete pass, and it just started over. They lost it down. So I was just like, "Well, yeah." They actually even blessed the Miners a little bit because that would have been a tackle for loss in the backfield. So it was just like, okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen that glitch since season 5. I think it was season 5 or season 6. That was a glitch.
Yeah,
where they the whole team's moving all the way down the field, crazy.
And they gave them the yards back then.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. So what in the world?
Yeah, that's all right there for the games that we got. I will say right now, guys, I do not have a definitive time on when these conference championship games will be. Me and Rob was literally just talking about that. We'll probably sit here and kind of discuss what works out best. Probably throw it out there, see what the community's thinking. But let me go ahead and show you guys the bracket up to this point, what has happened. As we are here, the conference championship, ARC championship, will be the Dublin Celtic Tigers versus the Cincinnati Hogs, the 1 and 4 seed. And in the NRC, the 1 and 5 seed will meet in a big rivalry game in the Snowhawks and the Condors for bout number 3. These games are actually big rivalry games. We already know about the Snowhawks and the Condors, but OGs know about the rivalry between the Celtic Tigers and the Hogs, despite them not being in the same division. And Rob, that's really how you got your debut.
Draco.
That was literally the game. And bro, the last time they played each other this season, it was 23-19, I believe. And it literally came down to Justin Jones on a game-winning drive to have to beat them even then. So like that's a huge rivalry in the RFL, Hogs and Celtic Tigers. And of course the Snowhawks and Condors is I guess right now I'm just going to ask you, Who do you think wins these two games and goes on to the Relo Bowl?
All right, man. So I've got my scouting report here. I'm going to go ahead and give you that. Right. So might be a little lengthy, guys. So try my best to keep it as smooth as possible. Right. So we got an overview here. Right. We have two prime QBs. Right. Prime for success, basically. Right. Oh wait, I'm gonna. This is Condors and Snowhawks. Right.
It's either game, whichever one you want to talk about.
Okay. So I've got Condors and Snowhawks first. Right. So we got two QBs that are prime for success here. Both veterans here. Both teams have a very, I guess you could say, high-powered and offense at times. Both have had, if you look at the schedules, both have had very tough schedules and have basically reached, this stage here by basically just outplaying other teams, man. They have impact players on both sides of the football. So I feel like this is more than likely going to be a pretty close game between the two. If you look at the stat side of things here, you'll see that both of these teams are matched up pretty evenly as far as stats go. Let me look at this here. What do I have? So they're just one game apart, the record wise, right? The overall, though, if we're doing overalls, if you're an overall guy, right? The overall is in favor of Portland, right? A 90 overall to an 86. But if you look at the points per game, 23 for San Jose, 25 for Portland. If you're looking at the yards a game, right? 332 for the Condors, 339 for the Portland Snowhawks. If you're looking at the passing yards, right? Only 10 yards separating the two teams, with San Jose at 256.4 and Portland with 248.4. And then if we're looking at the rushing, right? Only 9 yards, 81 rushing yards for San Jose a game and 90 for Portland here, right? If you're looking at the points allowed, we just talked about San Jose 17, Portland allowing 21 points per game. And then if we're looking at the yards total allowed by both teams here, 300 basically. So 298.6 for San Jose and 304 for Portland. This should be a very close game. Hopefully not 15-17, or I'm going to go absolutely crazy in this game. But keys to victory here for the Condors. Listen, Portland's front four generate a lot of pressure, man. So they got to try to keep McCoy clean, right? They need to limit the big plays. Snowhawks and Joseph G, they thrive on big explosive plays to move down the field. They try to work that play action because we know they like to run the ball. They try to throw you off there. So they got to play very well against that. And also they need to capitalize and try to wear down Portland as much as they can. I think they're going to have to try to utilize that run game and not try to go with just McCoy passing and scrambling, right? As for Portland, they need to make sure that they can establish the run. That is the big thing. Portland runs a 34 defense, I believe I saw. And while I know that the 34 defense, it can stop the run, it leaves weaknesses, right? So if they can get a strong run game going from McDonald here, mix that in, along with the vertical passing, I think that they can probably keep the Condors pretty much, guessing at what they're going to do, right? Red zone efficiency is going to be very important as well. Points, converting drives for touchdowns. They got to do that. They cannot afford to slack. Okay. And then obviously, with the injuries, right? The Snowhawks only have a couple of injuries to a couple of young guys. I believe it was Gonzalez and who's the other guy?
Patterson.
Ben Patterson.
Both of those guys aren't even really.
They
don't even play really.
So they're basically at max capacity. They're a healthy team, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that is going to play out for them as well. I'm gonna say though, man, I'm gonna give you my outcome, and I think this is 24-20 Portland over San Jose, right? Okay. And I'm gonna stand on business there, right? San Jose though, if they're gonna win this, they got to get these wide receivers, man. They got to get them going, bro. I don't think that Portland is going to back down. So, I got Portland 24, San Jose 20.
All right. And what's your breakdown for the Celtic Tigers and their Hogs in the ARC Championship game?
Okay, so for that game here, this is going to be a toss-up here. I'm always going to side with the veteran quarterback and the veteran defense, okay? I'm always going to do that when I face a rookie. So it's nothing against Shanahan and Washington. Love you guys. But I just think that Dublin, right, is going to have this here. Listen, this is the number one ranked overall team, right? Jones is the successor, as I talked about, to Crowell. He's been primed, right, for multiple seasons, right, to be in this predicament here. Look, man, these guys have pretty much, done a great job this year. Over 6,300 total offensive yards, obviously 5,000 of that passing, over 1,300 yards rushing, right? Their quarterback is very smart. He does not get rattled easily. And he is an absolute gunslinger with the rock, right? So they have to, this is not the same, you cannot compare him and Shanahan at all, right? Shanahan, rookie quarterback, has done a great job this season, but has been minimal in his approach, right? Jones, though, is the Celtic Tigers, right? He was primed for this position. So this is going to be very difficult for the Hogs, in my opinion, if they cannot get that defense. And we know they have a superior defense, have a very good defense. They have to be able to get that defense going against Justin Jones and limit his options. If they can keep Matt Nayani down and keep, obviously the tight end and these guys, they can keep these guys controlled. They do stand a chance there. Obviously, what are they going to do with Worsley? And is it going to be a Worsley 91 yard day to day when this game starts, or is it going to be Worsley with 25 yards, right, and Jones struggling against the defense, right? So we're going to have to see how that all is going to play there. As far as my matchups go. I have the Celtic Tigers, one of the most explosive offenses. I already mentioned that. Cincinnati, really balanced. They do have the run-heavy attack there. Obviously, close to 2,000 yards rushing. Obviously, some of Shanahan has some of that as well. So this game here is going to be an interesting game. I do think that with both of them running the 34 defenses here, that I think that rushing in this game may be the way to go, but I'm just worried that these defenses are so stout, though, right? That maybe they both become one-dimensional, and we start seeing Ronnie and Jones just kind of like throwing. Shivers, he's out for till next offseason, whatever it is, right? Is Haynes, right? Jacob Haynes.
Jacob Haynes.
Is he good enough, right, to rush against the Celtic Tigers, right? Is he good enough? That's going to be interesting to see. Worsley, right? Does Worsley still have enough in his tank to rush against the Hogs effectively, right? So we're gonna find out. But Cincinnati, though, right? Because I am favoring Dublin here. Look, they have to limit the big plays from the Celtic Tigers, and they need to make sure that they do not allow Justin Jones to just start passing all over them. That's going to be crucial. As far as the comparison goes, everything says in favor of Celtic Tigers. If you look at the points a game, it's 28-18 Celtic Tigers. We just did the total yards. I mean, Hogs are 1,400 yards less in total yards, right, than the Celtic Tigers on offense. Passing yards, Jones has got them by almost 2,000 yards total passing. Rushing did go to the Hogs, obviously with the Ronnie running and everything. They have the edge on the Celtic Tigers there. 600 more yards here. Points allowed, though, as we mentioned already, 18 for the Hogs, and then 21 for the Celtic Tigers. So that's kind of in favor, obviously, of the Celtic Tigers. I'm sorry, of the Hogs in that sense. Defensively, though, right, both of them are giving up the same amount of yards, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I was saying earlier, so it's 5,085 for Dublin and 5,016 for Cincinnati defensively, allowing those amount of yards, right? So that's why I was saying, if they shut down the run and this becomes a passing fest, then we got to think, well, who is the more accurate quarterback? Who's the better quarterback, right? so it's going to be it could be a shootout between the two teams and not a whole lot of defense, or it could be a whole lot of defense and an average day from the quarterbacks, man. So going to be very interesting there. And then Another thing I keep saying, because I don't want to count Cincinnati out. One thing that I've noticed from Shanahan is his ability to do clock management, right? So they got to slow this game down, bro, and try to get Haynes to run the ball, because if it becomes a quarterback duel, right? Oh, Jones is probably going to eat him alive, right? Like back and forth, touchdown, So they have to make sure that they manage the clock, keep the ball out of Justin Jones's hands, and not try to get into a back and forth. I'm going to give you my prediction for this classic matchup here. 31-21 Dublin. That's what I'm saying. I'm standing on business. All right.
All right. So that's a whole breakdown from Rob on who he thinks is going to go to the Relo Bowl. In my opinion, I just feel like number one seeds I'm going with in this matchup, but of course it definitely can go either way. We know that, right? Because they are pretty close. I feel like the defense of the Hogs definitely can keep them in this game. And if you just get a solid game from Ronnie Shanahan in this one, it's a good shot you can win. And hope that your defense can continue to do what it's been doing the entire playoffs, and that's make great quarterbacks look terrible when it comes to taking care of the football and turning the ball over. They've been able to do that for 2 consecutive weeks. Actually 3 to 4, because it really all started since they defeated Roland and the Armadillos when they were hot. So that right there made a huge difference. That's what even got them to the playoffs to begin with, won them the division, and they've made it this far so far. So they've got a good shot. All Justin Jones has to do is do what we saw this past week and do what we've seen all season long. He's got the weapons to do it, but they cannot underestimate that defense. That's all I can say there. With the Condors, though, the only thing that scares me here for the Snowhawks is this. There has never been a team in the RFL that have met each other 3 times and one team has won all 3 of those games. Yep. And the Snowhawks have swept the Condors already. And the Condors haven't beaten the Snowhawks since week 2 of last year. So to me, it's almost like definitely going to favor the Snowhawks as they've been dominant, but we've never seen a team win 3 consecutive times in 1 year. That would be crazy. That would be historic, right? Will it happen is the question. I do think that it's a possibility that it does happen, though. And so I'm still going with the number 1 seeds here for Relo Bowl 6 rematch between the Celtic Tigers and the Snowhawks.
So do you think that the Celtic Tigers embarrass the Snowhawks again?
I'm going to be honest here. If both of these teams if those teams make the Relo Bowl again, I'm actually going to be in favor of the Snowhawks this time.
The Snowhawks this time.
Because if Gilly, as long as Gilly doesn't look like he did in that Shamrocks game, because that right there is scary. And if he can look solid against the Condors, then this team is virtually unbeatable, because they got the defensive pieces, they got the offensive pieces, they got everything, right? The Celtic Tigers, I'd say, are the same way, but we know they have some flaws just in general. And so they just aren't that talented of a team when you compare them to the Snowhawks. So really it's going to come down to who's on their day that day. I say there's a higher chance that the Snowhawks win that game than the Celtic Tigers if it comes down to it. But again, it's still yet to be seen if even they make it to the Relo Bowl. They are favored to be there, but we'll see what happens. In your opinion, do you think that if one of these number 1 seeds do fall, right? And then I'll ask you afterwards if both of them fall, but let's stick with if one of them fall. Do you think that whichever number 1 seed makes it to the Relo Bowl against the team that isn't on the other side, that's an automatic win for them?
I think that if the Celtic Tigers make it against the Condors, I feel like it's going to go in favor of the Celtic Tigers. I feel that if the Snowhawks make it with the Hogs, I have that probably in favor of the Snowhawks, simply because of the ability to get the pressure around the QB. That's going to be very interesting, right? Right now, though, that's my analyst mind, right? Right now, if both of these number 1s fall off, though, I've got Ronnie Shanahan Ronnie
And the
football.
Hogs.
All the way, man. I got him. I got him all the way. Salute to AW too, man. We gotta remember AW's on the team. I know
Yeah.
everyone keeps saying Ronnie football, but it was AW's team first. The big salute to Anthony Washington if he's in the chat right now. But yeah, I've got the Hogs going all the way. Nothing against McCoy and the Condors. I just kind of think that the Hogs are a bit built differently this season, man. They're doing some remarkable things here, and also just looking at looking at the data, right? These guys put up 38 in the first, right? 31 in the second round, right? Condors, they had the 32, right? But then they only put up 17, right? In the second. So it's making me feel like Shanahan's got the hot hand and McCoy is kind of a little lukewarm right now, right? So yeah, that's where I'm going, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that is mainly it. I do want to ask, all right, so here's what I'm thinking, guys. I'm thinking for this schedule, we could do Monday and Friday, but I feel like that's a long gap between the games. Another option I have is Wednesday and Friday. And if for when those games will be, and then we could potentially do Friday and then Saturday. So just off those options, just to see what the community's thinking. In my opinion, I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards Wednesday and Friday. What are you thinking right now for the games mix?
Um, um, I'm feeling. I mean, honestly, I do like the. I don't know, man. I know guys get tired of waiting. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And what is this Saturday night?
yeah, this
So
Saturday right now.
tomorrow's Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That gives them 4 days, but Friday 6, 7 days. Um, for me personally, though, the end of the week is usually best for me because I don't have to worry about getting up the next day and all that stuff. I can pretty much do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But for the sake of the league, if they want to put it on Wednesday, I don't mind calling the game on Wednesday. The only thing is I have a pooch with me. So so that's the only thing I'm kind of like tethered to him right now for the week. So um, I mean I should be able to get. I normally call the game at 7:30. So I should be able to get him in for his walk because boy he took a couple of diarrheas today.
Play the bell for the dog's
Oh,
pals.
oh yeah, man, boy, he got me today, man. It was a lot, man. So I could probably work Wednesday out. Maybe if I hate to push the game with my wrenching situation, man.
Mm.
I get pretty loud. I don't want the neighbors mad at me, man. But I mean, I could do Wednesday, but if they want to wait till Friday and Saturday, that works better for me. If
Yeah.
they can hold out that long, honestly.
Another thing too that will come with that, which is the flaw that I kind of do have with Friday and Saturday, is that most likely
Mhm.
there won't be a podcast after that because I will not be able
Oh,
to
I
do
see
a
what you're saying. Yeah,
podcast
yeah,
on
yeah,
Sunday.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah. Hmm.
y'all want to not have a podcast. I don't know. I mean, that's
Yeah,
why I'm
yeah,
kind of leaning towards Wednesday and Friday, me personally. The first game, though,
yeah.
just so you guys know, will be the Celtic Tigers and Hogs, and
Okay.
the last game, will be the Snowhawks and Condors. Because to me, even though both of them are big rivalry games, the Snowhawks and
Mhm.
Condors game, I'd say is just more of a modern rivalry that
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
see
Mhm.
frequently, and it's their third time literally playing each other to see who goes to the Relo Bowl. So that's why it's important. So
Yeah, yeah.
I see you guys saying Wednesday and
Okay.
Friday. I think Wednesday and Friday it is, man. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
Wednesday and Friday, man. So
All right.
that's gonna be two games. That way you don't gotta wait too long. It's still the game day after, get a break. Then on Friday, boom, we figure out podcast the very next day. We know who's in the Reload Bowl.
Yeah.
We figure out what the Pro Bowl roster is gonna be. All that stuff is gonna be on that podcast,
Mhm.
which is why I kind of again didn't want that to be on a Saturday because we would have missed that
Mhm.
information. So
Yeah.
yeah, Wednesday and Friday it will be. So at Wednesday, what time would you want to call that Wednesday game, Rob?
Just make it 7:30. I mean, if I have to push it to 7:45, it's fine. Just got to make sure that he's fed and use the restroom. We did pretty good today, though. He was good. So he seems content. He's right here next to me, man, sleeping. So,
All right, cool.
but yeah. I think I should be good. If I have to,
Oh, yeah, broke up.
I should be good. That's,
Oh, podcast tripping.
oh, see, I have to. I'm not gonna let him stay this week. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you
Can you hear
restart
me?
it? It just now, yeah, it cut you off for a
Oh yeah,
while.
no. What I was saying was that so this week can he stand with me, but he has to stay at my parents' house because my landlord, he's not supposed to be here right now.
Oh yeah.
So, but the issue is that I got to drive all the way over there and walk him and everything, and then be back in time. So, but I'll let you guys know ahead of time if I'm going to be like 15 minutes late. If I have to be 30 minutes late, I will. I'll let you guys know well ahead of time. But it's my intent to get him walked and fed, and lock him back in the house. Ahead of the schedule. So yeah,
All right, cool. Yeah, so I guess to be announced. We'll put that out there when we get
yeah.
closer to that time. I will
Mhm.
be streaming my game with the Snowhawks and the Condors at 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Just to build up that hype, late night game. Boom, run you into the weekend for the podcast. So yeah, that's it. RFL related. We touched everything so far. Not really too much to talk about since the Relo Bowl is almost here. Um, what we will bring up though is just a little bit of news about college football 26 and
Oh,
the
big sister Jalen too, man.
Oh yeah, shout
So
out to
he
you, Jalen.
graduates on Wednesday, man.
Congratulations.
Salute, man.
Yeah.
That's big.
So we got information of course early access when we'll be able to touch the games, right? College Series 8's coming up, and college football 26 early access will be July 7th. So obviously we're going to have that access. Coaches who are getting hired, you guys, if you're watching this right now, you better make sure you buy that game, because if you don't have that game on time, because we're about to get rolling as soon as it drops, you most likely won't be able to coach. So make sure you pre-order that game and get that out the way so that we're not getting held up, because we got to dive right into this season. Because when I look at the timeline based off of when this game's releasing, I feel like it's going to push back season 10 of the RFL. Like, I really think, from looking at the schedule, I don't think we're going to have a draft until January, to be honest. So
Mhm.
that's just seems to be the way that it's going to have to go. So yeah, we got to get to it. So just to give a range, if we're talking about July 10th, let me look at the schedule. July 7th, excuse me. I can see us starting College Series 8 either the last week of July or the first week of, which would be on the 4th. If it's the first week of, and we're trying to keep this same schedule so that way, it just worked better than what our old schedule based off of what we got going on. So, yeah, it's either going to be the
Are we are
28th.
we are we tweaking rosters?
Yeah, but
Like, are we?
because of
So we have to rebuild the players?
yeah, and for that reason why that won't take too long is because uh for the CPU teams, that's like building one RFL team. Like, the amount of guys we got to
Hmm.
rebuild. Coaches are going to have to really rebuild their entire roster on who they want back. So
Hmm.
that don't even take them long, and then we don't have to worry about touching anything too much when it comes to the players, because the players we just got to put their names and stuff over. And so as soon as they get created
Hmm.
on the stream, they're set. Like, they'll know the
So
depth
we just
chart for
we
them.
gotta create so we don't have to recreate the generic players.
Yeah, we will, and that'll be the first thing we
Hmm.
do. And then after that,
Hmm.
after we have that base done, which still isn't too many, then we will move on to creating the newest guys coming in. And that is
Okay.
just that handles itself as soon as the stream is done, because as soon as we make everybody, that's it. They're already on the roster, they're ready to play,
Yeah.
and then we can just start the season up straight from there. So and we don't have to use Teambuilder at
They,
all.
they gonna hate me for this, and I don't care because they get to be on the best game right now, the hottest game. We don't. So look, you need to train these coaches to build multiple teams, man. And that's honestly we put in a lot of work in the RFL with building rosters, and really there's like 5 of us that built all those teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like this is something that these young coaches, because they want to coach, right? That they need to learn how to build and build properly, and be more efficient than some of the coaches that we've had here. So I feel like you need to put pressure on them if they want to stay
Oh yeah.
coaches.
It's gonna be a
Because you
lot
can't
of
expect
pressure on them coaches, man.
Mix and Dunn and these guys, us, to go build these teams for you guys in your series that we can't coach in, right? So they need to do it, and I'm standing on business, boys. So build those teams, or you don't coach. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
Because we do
and
that in the RFL, and like Mari, me and Mari, bro, come on, man.
yeah. And the coaches,
Anyway,
the new college coaches already
yeah,
know, because I've talked with them in their
yeah,
interviews, and I told them, I said, hey man, you don't build this team, you don't coach. Simple as that. So
yeah,
they know
yeah,
they have to get those rosters done. The thing
yeah.
about it is it's a lot easier for them because they can transport whoever it is that they want over
Exactly.
based off of the roster
Mm-hmm.
that they are going to be given on that 26. So if they like
Right.
everyone on their entire new roster, they have to build the generic though. I mean the user
Yeah.
player though. If you got a user
Yeah.
player on your team or an important generic, they have to be built on that team. Other
Mm-hmm.
than that, everyone else that you want to keep on that team, you would have to build yourself back. If not, you could keep with what they
Got you.
have. But if a coach wants to be
Yeah.
lazy, they could have a
Yeah.
worse roster. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that'll
Yeah.
come back to bite them anyway. But they
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure they have the important guys built, which again shouldn't take too long. But if
Right.
dudes really want to make sure they bring their roster back, like you're gonna have to build that entire team.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
whatever is at the deadline, that's what you got to work with.
Yeah.
And coaches, they already know they got the pressure on them now to be able to record every single one of their games and
Yeah.
premiere games,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to make it
Yeah.
where the pressure is taken off of us, where
Yeah.
we've
Of
been
course.
recording
Yeah.
all these premiere games.
Right.
Like
Right.
coaches, you're gonna have to get your photo game up. You're gonna have to record more games than just your. That's all good, Rob. It's all good. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you guys are going to have to really tote that weight and be able to record those things for us, because we're still looking to try to keep it where it's 16 premiere games that gets recorded along with our live games. And we're hoping to bring you guys 4 live games instead of 2 like we did from last year, but that really depends on the help we get. So if we don't get the assistance from the coaches that are coming in, it's only going to be 2 games that are going to be recorded every week. If we do get that assistance, then we can do 4, which is our regular schedule, where we have a game on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, and the game of the week on Friday. So if you want to have more games, coaches got to pitch in. And honestly, if you want to have more games, the community, if you want to pitch in and record games and have more games be recorded, that'll be 20 games a week. Then make sure that you hit us up and say, hey, I want to help out with this. And if you can handle those duties, we get more games a week. If not, I just can't do it. Me and Rob just can't do it. You're going to have to go with the 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's the early access stuff, showing a little bit of everything that's going on. I know there's more news coming in, but the big news that I really wanted to get into, this is a post that Eric had posted up. And his post was about this news about Teambuilder being easily transferable from what you built before onto the next. So hopefully, for one, they fix Madden's Teambuilder, right? We know this is going to happen in college football. This should happen in Madden, but I really don't trust it, because how do we not get the same features from college football over to Madden, right? That did not happen this year. So they have to fix that, man. And I'm hoping they fix that, but this case gives me hope to say that we don't have to worry about rebuilding the RFL teams, right? In terms of that, and then honestly,
Like
this year,
trying to make the teams, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Because
if this,
you can edit the rosters,
yeah,
right?
because if this is
Yeah.
accurate, now all we got to do is legit build this roster one time, and it will just
Mm-hmm.
be editing. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, that's it. That it'll literally just be, okay, what's the new attributes based off of after the year, and then not only will RFL teams be downloadable, they will be downloadable with the official rosters. So that right there just boosts the exposure of the league. I know a lot of guys would love to just have their own franchises playing with the RFL team, like legit playing with you know, Chase McCoy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I can even make a I could even make an alternate account where I'll have more RFL teams where you can download them and it'll have historic rosters. You know, like you can have the Celtic Tigers, the championship year where they won, with Drake Crowell, or the year before that when they went 15-1, or the championship winning T-Birds, or, literally all the past stuff. There goes the dog. But yeah, if you
Wow.
want to have all of that, there's a possibility that, with this, I can definitely drop that and get that going for you guys. So hopefully EA does it right, man. I know you've been talking about some news too in the Discord. What's
Yeah.
some interesting things you heard about, college football or
Uh,
Madden coming
um.
up?
Well, this obviously that he was saying here. That's a good. Anyway, it'll get me in trouble, man. Anyway, so no, I thought I saw earlier 1,700 new characters in the game. Now they were talking about in relation to crowd and cheerleaders. But they're saying that every stadium is going to be unique. The crowds are going to be unique, and you're not going to see the same replay and animation in every field, right?
That's great.
So that was cool. They said 200 new actual head models are in the game. So I'm praying that somehow that those head models can maybe be unlocked in the creator player menus and all that stuff, and maybe the created coach stuff as well. But they're being very vague about how it's going to be used and stuff. I did see a lot of the presentation stuff is like now spot on. I know guys Bomba stuff and everything. The guy I was listening to earlier was saying that everything is it's spot on, man. Like, Michigan, whatever club you like, whatever they do at a certain moment, you're actually going to see that go down. Like as far as last year, it was like maybe you see it one time or something like that, or maybe not at all. But now they're saying that it's going to be in there, which is I'm really excited about that for us because we had to build the college teams
Yeah.
last year, which ruined the presentations. If you have not played this game or sim this game with the actual teams,
Different.
boy, you're going to be in for a nice treat, man. Because it's a really really nice game to actually sim and have the atmosphere, right? So they're working on the lighting as well. I've been hearing a lot about that. So now Smitty, now when we call the games, right? If it's like in Southern California, right, and we're calling the game at 7 p.m., well, it's going to be 4:30.
Ah,
So whatever California looks like at 4:30, right? It's gonna be like that. It's not gonna be a night game or whatever, right? Or like
mm-hmm.
how the games are like night and day, and then we got them all mixed up.
Yeah.
Now they have that. I forget what they call it. It's
Official
something
time.
weather. Yeah, whatever
So
it's
it's
called.
like
Yeah. So
it's on the time that we stream it.
yeah. So if you stream the game at whatever time it is, right? Then it'll be that like our live games, right? For our live
Yeah.
games, that's going to be lit, right?
Yeah.
So if it's 3 hours behind, it's going to be that, or if it's like 6:30 p.m. or whatever like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be that based off the time zone of the game.
Nice.
So that'll be a lot more immersion and everything. Obviously, for the games, it won't matter because we stream those, you know, randomly, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have that feature. I'm hearing a lot about the equipment and stuff like that. Is looking pretty raw. They've unlocked this team builder now, right? So now you can not only carry over whatever you had, but now you can edit and build the stuff that you did, you can build on it with more features, basically. All right. So I think they're opening it up a bit. So I'm just kind of happy about that because I'm praying that it's gonna be like that for Madden, right?
Yeah.
That you
It need
can
to, man. There's no
expand on what you
excuse for it
have.
not
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be, man. No
yeah.
excuse.
There's no excuse. Yeah,
I'm
no excuse.
definitely
So
highly
hopefully,
let down with how they did Team Builder and Madden
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
it makes sense why it
yeah,
wasn't the same
yeah,
as college football.
yeah. But they always try to sell us something like new.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that they'll, yeah, you know how it goes. So
Yeah.
hopefully though, they expand the team builder and we will be okay. So. Yeah.
But yeah, that's really it, guys. Is there anything you guys
Oh,
want to add? Okay.
one more. all you short quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, this might
Yeah,
kill
all you short
Shmoney and them boys.
quarterbacks. Oh man. So for the college, they're saying that the shorter you are, right, it affects your vision, your field of view, and your windows of opportunity to deliver the ball properly, right? And I'm telling you, man, if you've got this little 5'8" runt behind these linemen, boy, it might get ugly.
Yeah,
so stop building yourself as you are in high school and build a professional ball player
yeah.
with respect to all of the
I'm gonna
short
send a
guys in the league,
prayer up
short
right now
quarterbacks.
for Nyshawn.
Oh
Nah,
man,
yeah,
yeah,
cause bro,
that's gonna be killer, man.
was he 5'8",
I'm
5'9",
telling
something
you,
like that?
yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah,
killer, guys. So yeah, that's I mean, honestly,
it's good.
bro, it's true, bro.
Yeah,
If
we
that's
shouldn't
how
be
it
having
should be,
quarterbacks like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know, definitely, man. So that's gonna be interesting to see. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, if you guys got any questions for us, let us know. I'm gonna be here till 10 o'clock because I had some food probably sitting here cold now that still didn't get to bite on. But
Yeah, I've got to jump out here too. This guy, he's going crazy because
oh yeah,
now people are walking through the building. Now he wants to bark.
oh man.
So,
But I don't think we got any
yeah,
questions though. It looks like everybody's cool. We went over everything we needed to. We know when the games are going to be now. I'm going to work on like specific graphics for this conference championship games. So I will be dropping, the graphics, I guess, to that when the time comes. But Wednesday and Friday, guys, Wednesday, time to be announced. Robert will be in the booth in Dublin, take as the Hogs and Ronnie Shanahan takes on Justin Jones and CT. And then on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, I'll be calling the Snowhawks and Condors game to see who's going to Relo Bowl 9. With that being said, about to go ahead out of here. I'll answer this one question right here. It says, do you think next season is going to be similar to this season? I mean, it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. I think with what we've seen in this season, all being in one file, I feel like every season is going to be different, and you're just going to be like, whoa, like you don't know what's going to happen. Because I'm gonna be honest, the competitive level in the RFL is almost like here everywhere. Like legit.
yeah,
There are some teams that are still at the bottom, but they're slowly coming up. But it's literally to the point where a lot of teams are neck and neck, and you can lose to anybody. So that's what the RFL is becoming. Uber competitive across the board. Like I said, you could see from the teams that made the playoffs this year, the way they're playing, the way they're coming up, and a lot of these teams that were at the bottom, they built their young talent up, and they are the next wave of stars coming through. You know, you look at teams like the Pioneers, the Black Knights, um, shoot the Hogs right now. It's a lot of teams, Armadillos, even getting rolling and being able to change things around. Every team that was at the bottom is literally up, and yeah, that's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what happens next year. Do I think it will be the same? Probably not. I think the parity would probably be the same with a lot of drama, but man, I think it's going to be a completely different story year to year. But with that being said, that's it for me. It's your boy Smitty, RFL Commissioner, play-by-play commentator, along with Rob, aka Mix, as he strangles his dog on the sideline. but yeah, we will see you guys on Wednesday for game number 1, Celtic Tigers versus Hogs, and on Friday, Snowhawks versus Condors. Until then, we'll see you guys to see who's going to the Relo Bowl and in the Pro Bowl the week afterwards. Peace.
peace.